Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to explain to you what the Snaphud is for Wolfenstein enemy territory, trick jumping. To do this we're going to take a look at a demo I recorded using the Snaphud, and we're going to compare this to the normal CGAZ that you see here, and I'm going to assume you already know how to read this and see how this looks kind of weird and what you're supposed to do, and then see what this demo looks like with the Snaphud to understand what's going on, and so you can maybe apply it yourself in the game. So before we get into anything, let's just roll the demo and take a look and then point some stuff out. So here we go. Okay, so let's just go back, right? So as you can see, you can gain a lot of speed that you can even over jump this jump in particular, no don't for it. But if you take a look at the CGAZ, there's some weird stuff going on, or maybe it looks kind of weird to you. For some it might not, but so first of all, like what we see here with the CGAZ, normally you want this line between these two, the red and blue, to be like way smaller, and then you want to keep moving your mouse slightly to the side to keep minimum distance and to accelerate at the highest rate possible. Yet you see here that I keep creating like these huge gaps in between, but my speed is still good, and maybe even better than you're capable of doing with the normal CGAZ, depending on who you are. But and then also when I switch, you see these huge gaps. And what I do is I just wait and let them close, and then still I get a lot of speed here, right? So let's just move over to the other demo with the Snaphud, and yeah, explain what's going on here. So now let's move on to Snaphud. So already you can see like a bunch of stuff on my screen. Hold on, yeah, okay. Now we can see everything. So there are three things that are going to be important to us. The first is just our crosshair, where we're going to be aiming. Second thing is the Snaphud, the snap zones, I mean, rather, and the CGAZ. So the top half here is your Snaphud, or are the snap zones, and the bottom half is your CGAZ. This is CGAZ number 5. So the CGAZ has different visuals. You can use CGAZ number 2, which is the previous one we saw, and CGAZ number 5 is this one. If you're going to be using Snaphud or snap zones, you basically have to use CGAZ number 5 to be able to do it as efficiently as possible. You can use the other one, but you really want to see the edges here. So from your CGAZ, this gray bar and green, like this little intersection here between the gray and the green, and the snap zones. You want to be able to see both of these snap zones, these parts, and your crosshair. So CGAZ number 2, it is possible, but you just can't see it as well. So let me explain to you what exactly it is. So especially the snap zones up top here. So snap zones are basically areas where you can aim with the CGAZ line, where you will accelerate. So the reason you're accelerating when you're strafing is because the edge of your CGAZ and your crosshair are in the same zone, like here. So this straight line you see here, if you turn this on in-game, you will see that if you move your mouse around, that they stay stationary in space. And that's basically because it's you can see this as a circle going around you. So what you need to do is you keep your CGAZ into the same area as the snap zone. So how to think of your CGAZ right here. Okay. Normally you have your blue line of the CGAZ, which is the directional key you're pushing, like here, the arrow key, right? And you have the red lines, the arrow shape, and you want to keep that distance minimal, the angle, right? The angle that you normally see is now this distance here, from this tiny green bar here, or the edge of the gray bar here, and your crosshair. This is your angle. So if you remember, or if you go back in the video and you search around this point, you see there's a big angle between the red line and the blue line. And you see that's because this line is big too. Well, if you continue, here the line is closer. You also see in the CGAZ number 2 that this distance is smaller too. Okay. So that's how you think of the CGAZ number 2 and CGAZ number 5. Now, what you see right now is that my crosshair and the edge of my CGAZ here, the gray bar, are in the same area, the zone, the top line here. So between this blue edge and this blue edge, my crosshair is roughly 2/3 of the way, or 3/4, and the CGAZ is also in here. Which means my angle, or my CGAZ, it will move towards my crosshair. It's going to be like, hey, I'm offset, I want to get closer to the crosshair. And the more this is towards the edge here of the zone, so remember the zone here is between this blue and this blue, the closer it is to the edge here, to the right, because we're moving right, the higher it will accelerate. Now, what happens if my crosshair is in a different zone than this bar here, the gray bar, the edge? So imagine my crosshair isn't here right now, but it should be, and it is here in the other blue zone. Now, the bar here would be in this zone, the first one in the middle. My crosshair will be in the zone over, which means they're too far apart. It won't accelerate as fast. They need to be in the same zone. That's how it works. Why it works that way, I don't know. It's just the way it does. If my crosshair is in another area than the edge of my bar here, I will barely gain speed. But as long as they're in the same area, same zone, you will accelerate rather quickly. And the more towards the edge you are, the faster the rate in which your CGAZ is going to move towards your crosshair. So that's the first thing. So let's just see, right? Boom, move over. Next zone. Switch, 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 switch. Okay. Let's go back. So you see me do a lot of switches, and that is because my crosshair is going to be at the edge, while this bar is going to be at the edge as well. See, like it's almost touching. It's going to be touching. So I switch, right? Because I want to go straight, like here again. It's going to be touching. So I'm going to either have to do one, move to the next zone, or go to the other one. Now, if I move to the next zone, right, I can put my crosshair all the way over here, but my CGAZ will stay in the same place, and it has to move a long distance towards my crosshair. And the further away it is from my crosshair, the slower it will move, and the closer it is, the more it will stick to it, basically, right? So if it's almost touching and you move your mouse, not too fast, it will want to stick to your crosshair. But if you move your mouse away, it will going to move towards your crosshair. And the further away it is, the slower this movement will be, especially if you're in another zone. So I switch, because I want to accelerate as fast as possible, gain as much UPS as I can, right? Switch, gain speed, okay. So that's the basic idea. Now, if this is hard for you to consume on the first time watching or viewing this, give yourself some time to process like what's going on, right? Maybe pause and try to predict yourself like what's going on, but just review it. Just look at it and try to understand it. So again, I will just play it. Yeah, so just view that a few times and try to see what's going on. Now, I haven't talked about the start much, because it's just a different ball game. The start, and you can accelerate so much quicker than you can in higher UPS, that it makes it, I guess, a bit harder to read what's going on, because the CGAZ here is going to be sticking really, really hard to your crosshair. Because your UPS is slow, so it can move faster and it will stick more. It will want to stick more. So normally, right at this point, I'm going to be switching zones or switching as soon as I hit the edge. But in the beginning, you see I kind of skip to the next zone, right? I move over. It's just because this works for me. The start. There's another way to do it, which is what I will show next. But the start is just something you'll have to learn. But the same principle applies. I want to move my crosshair to this edge. I'm a bit past now because I'm already moving towards here. Like my crosshair went here, well, the CGAZ went from right to left, trying to approach it. And as I got close here to the edge, I'm gonna move to the next one. I could also stay in here to really optimize, but it's just hard, right? Remember, each zone, all these colors are zones. The empty parts and the color parts are just the same, just different zones, right? So I'm gonna be moving to this edge right now until the CGAZ hits it. And then I wanna go back to the other side. Then I'm gonna skip to the next one, next, and then go back, etc. Look, see? Skip, go, skip. Yeah, just observe that. But it's basically the same as doing a strafe start. So far the Snaphud. I just want to show you one other example of how you can do your start, which is really clean, but it's also hard to master. I haven't mastered it entirely, but in some jumps I actually apply it because it's easier to me. So this is the last thing I want to show you guys. An alternative start than what I showed you before. So before I did strafing, right, where you just move to the right for a longer time after you first switch. And this is an alternative start where you just basically don't move your mouse at all and just let the CGAZ and all the snap zones and everything just do all the work for you. It's really pleasing if you can apply it on certain jumps. This one, for example, is from No Down 2, a pretty hard map. And this is jump 1.2. And here I apply a different start, which is basically just a lazy start, but will get you really far. So let's take a look. So yeah, this start with strafing, I have a much higher difficulty. Like if I strafe, I want to aim for this pad, right? I switch here, move to the right, land somewhere here, and then in between these two pads, so this one and this one, I switch to the left again, so with W8. But this is just an alternative way. So let's see, I'm still in the beginning phase. Let's see, let's play. There you go, right? So again, here, you'll see I'll be coming close to the edge. So I'm going to switch to the right. There you go. And this is where I basically stop moving. Let me give you a better example. So there, I just switched to the right, but I didn't move my mouse, if you pay attention to it. So here again, I'm going to keep my mouse roughly in the same position again. You can see that it's just really pleasing, right? You can just keep your mouse there and you will just gain speed regardless. Like, so if you really master this, it's just such an easy and lazy start to do that if you want to go for it, just go for it. I'm still learning it, and for this jump in particular, it's helpful for me. So yeah, that's an alternative way to do it. So I hope all of this has been helpful to you guys. Go try it out, Snaphud in the game. It's not for everyone. But yeah, give it some time to get used to reading this and still be able to look around where you're going. And yeah, have fun.